And welcome to Twolves Country. I am Corey,
And I'm Carter.
and today we're going to talk about opening night for the Timberwolves. So, Carter, let's first
hmm
talk about what are you most excited to see tonight with the Timberwolves?
I mean, obviously, the first thing that I think we're all excited about is the fact that Wolves back, baby. Been missing a whole
Woo!
lot since the season is back.
I got my Crunch T-shirt on. I got my hat on. Well, I don't have my hat on. My
Always
Timberwolves hat with me. I'm ready for it.
got as much
Uh,
swag as possible for tonight, right?
that's about all I have. I mean, like I say, I think this T-shirt cost us like $500, didn't it, from the playoffs?
Yes, it might be one of the most expensive T-shirts you ever got.
Right. All right.
But
So besides
sorry, I
besides
was
that the Wolves are back, besides that they're on FanDuel Sports Network now, what are you most excited or what has your interest piqued with this new Timberwolves team?
I think the probably the most obvious answer that a lot of people are going to say is I'm very excited and intrigued by watching how Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo play. I mean, it depends. Does the offense look a whole lot different now that Randall's at the four with instead of Cat? And what kind of motion and like plays do we get seen drawn up for DiVincenzo, who so far in the preseason seemed like they're like, yeah, you're gonna shoot threes. We're getting you open for threes.
Shoot threes. I mean, he shoots a ton of threes. I agree with you. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to is, excuse me, is who or how they're going to play the point guard position. I know we're going to talk a little later what we think about the rotation is going to be, but is the point guard going to be Nah, or is it going to be DiVincenzo? Is it going to be Dilly? Or is Joe Ingles going to play a little bit point forward like Slow Mo did for us last year? I'm fascinated to see it. And honestly, I think the Wolves are going to spank the Lakers. I think the Lakers are highly overrated. They have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and you and I can play shooting guard for them. That might be a little aggressive. I understand. All right. Sorry about that. I had to mute for a second. All right. So very excited about that. See that. Speaking of the Wolves or ex-Timberwolves, let me look left for a second. It's a commercial break. But I couldn't help but notice the team that the NBA insiders had anointed as future world champions were down 25 in the third.
Quick Google
What?
search shows that it's now in 29 in the third quarter. It's 99-70.
Yeah. Did Google search happen to tell us how Mr. Towns was shooting?
Oh, that's just another quick click right here of check the shooting numbers. 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 2 from three, 7 rebounds, 3 assists.
How do they have so few points? Who's stinking? Is the new jump shot from here working for Mr. Bridges?
You know, it's funny. I believe when I checked, he was 0 for 5, but now he's 3 for 8. So he has just hit his last 3 shots. But man, I don't get the transition on the jump shot at all. It just looks uglier.
Yeah, I
Especially for
agree.
someone that was a 40+% 3-point shooter just not that many seasons ago.
Why did he change it? What happened? Do you know?
I haven't read too many articles about it. I believe the reasoning both trainers and Bridges are mentioning is that the new shot is meant to be quicker to get off. Uh, the NBA, the theory is always the faster you can get off your jump shot, the better it is. And so I think they're hoping with kind of this change in the jump shot and the speed that mechanics will eventually like work themselves out and that he'll be able to return to that, elite level 3-point shooter that he was when he was the third option in Phoenix, which is what obviously New York wants a repeat of.
I'm fascinated by this, Carter. Help me here. They're down 29 points, yet they're shooting 59%. The Celtics are shooting 57%. Is there just like a ton of turnovers going on, or what? Are they just getting killed on the boards? Well, I know we're talking about the Timberwolves here, but this just fascinates me since the entire NBA just went, oh, they got Cat. Did they not see the final years of Cat at center where he got pushed around by everyone? I mean, we love Cat, right? He's a really good player. 25, 30 still, but he has his shortcomings. He's not the messiah of center, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think how many years at center were we just like, why is he such a bad defender? He can't do anything. And obviously that did improve moving down a position. So it is interesting over the course of these first few games to see, is he an average defender now at center, which would be incredible, or does he really regress kind of back to that Timberwolves form,
Yeah.
which would
It'll be
be
interesting.
a huge problem for New York?
Yeah. It's one game, but I decided to appreciate or make fun of him a little bit. All right. So, a topic that we've talked about in the offseason, now with the cat for Randall and DiVincenzo, is what is the rotation? I'll go first. I feel like in the beginning, we were counting dilly dilly, correct? Don't you feel? But now, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I didn't read the report, but I did believe I saw one that Finch was like, I want Mike Conley playing 20 minute, like in the 20s. We do not want him playing 30 minutes a night. So you do have to kind of consider and go into the year thinking someone's playing backup point guard. We still quite aren't sure who it is.
Yeah,
And
I
that the
think
question of, does someone get increased minutes off the bench for that, or is it more your ninth guy is just going to be filling in for that 10 or 12 minutes, and it's a conclave of different guys playing the point for the rest of the game?
I think you nailed it on the head there. It's going to be a bunch of guys. That was a big word, Carter. It's a big word for me to try and say. So I'm just going to hit it nail on the head. I think obviously you've got the three that we know about. They're going to come off: DiVincenzo, Nas, and Na. And then it's the next two. Who are the next two? Is it Dilly? Is Dilly your ninth guy? And then the question we've been talking about a lot: the person that's just balled out in the preseason, the lawnmower man. Is he coming to mow some lawn, Carter? I think he is. I think he needs to run. I think he's our best option as a 3-4 backup to Jay McDaniels. Well, what do you think?
I got to be honest. I've not done as much preseason watching probably as I should have and as you have, but just from all the people I've seen
I'm a
talking
little
about it,
excited, Carter. A little excited, a little overly aggressive in my
I was gonna say
watching of meaningless basketball.
mine has been getting talked about quite a bit. Uh, And yeah, I mean, when we talked about Forrest too, he fills in for that maybe the 3-4 role for us. It's more just where exactly does he fit into that? Is it more, is he going to be a really, really kind of small four where you're just cutting to the hoop? That's all we need you to do. You're a very, very light version of Aaron Gordon, or the three where it's all right. We want you shooting some jumpers here, and the identity of this team is defense. So obviously, you're playing defense
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, that's a big thing with him. I mean, he has definitely improved his jump shot, but we need him to play defense so he can stick in the court. And I think I put him as our 10th guy. I think Joe Ingles is our 11th guy, but I think he's really a character guy on the bench. I mean, truly a character who talks a ton of Aussie smack. I've been told on the bench. So it'll be nice to see. He can still hit a three, but I think he's the one after the trade is going to be sitting down. I think the other rookie, Terrence Shannon Jr., I don't think he's going to get a lot of run. I think he's going to see a lot of Iowa. Leonard Miller, he's still down in Iowa, I feel. But it makes me warm and fuzzy to see the development of Minot, Miller. Who was our second round pick last year? Is it Jalen Clark? The guy that was a defensive player of the year that tore his Achilles? I mean, he's still got a ways to go. But I mean, I just love the fact that before you were born, we used to take people like Myron Smith and just these horrible second round picks that never played. It was just terrible. So good to see that they are more of a bigger issue to figure out who they're going to play, not incumbents as opposed to we got nobody.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how many times have you gone into a Timberwolves season where it's been like, man, we're really, really debating who's going to get that last 10 to 15 minutes off the bench? And there's actually a discussion there because I could very easily see a world where it's like, you know what? The Wolves need another center, and obviously Leonard Miller is not that big, but kind of in a speculated position for quite a while now. And maybe you just throw him out there for a little bit. Uh,
Yep.
it's remarkable to think that we're sitting here at the start of the year like, man, who's going to be our end of the bench guys that we think could be like rotation guys for other
or
teams?
or squeezed out or squeezed out literally
Yeah,
before it'd be
that's what I
like
should.
we go like 4 deep before we used to, not 10 deep or 9 deep. Okay, so rotation. In the never-ending story, came out today that Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez say they have a ton of cash in a bank account and they're ready to purchase the Wolves. Great. This will never end. The only people that are going to win is lawyers with the fees. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was a speculation that Fernocci, if they do win their arbitration case, that the first thing that they will do is immediately go, Glenn, there's no love lost. Get the hell out of the org.
So I was listening to Dane Moore, I think it was, and someone asked him, what do they think? Who do they think, or how will the structure be for the ownership in a year? And I think Glenn would still have 20%. So that'll be interesting to
Really?
see. Yeah. Now, don't hold me to that, but I think that was the case because I don't think they'd own all of it. They would just be the controlling owners.
Well,
Could
but
be
wouldn't they
wrong, but
already be if they win the arbitration case? Because isn't the deal 60-40? Or am I
yeah, but
mistaken?
it's not for all of it, though, is what I mean. It's not
No, I know, but that's
100%.
what I thought that they would use the rest of this 940 million to buy out the 40%. Because that could Glenn even say no at that point since he's a minority owner?
Yeah, he doesn't have to sell anything. So, but my feeling is he would be like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, 1.5 billion right now is an incredibly cheap, even for a team that needs a new stadium. Um, so, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion that it might be like, hey, we're worth $2 billion, and I'll let this go if you stop. Otherwise, I don't know. Just me rambling. It's like it just seems to make too much sense.
Well, it's just another aspect of being a Timberwolves fan slash the Timberwolves team. I mean, you're going into the season and halfway through, you're going to find out, all right, we got finally got new ownership, or yep, we're sticking with the same guy, and he's probably still
Yeah.
going to want to sell the rest of the team before it's done.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next subject. We're gonna make this short and sweet. We might try and do this maybe tomorrow, depending how the game goes. Little prize picks. We're not sponsored by them at all or anything like that, but we like to look at the odds and what's going on. I have Ant at 26 and a half points. What are your thoughts on that? Yay or nay?
I got to be honest, I almost think that's a nay.
I agree. I don't think he's going to get 26 and a half. I
I,
know it's an
I
opening night, but I just think there's too many players now for that he can share the ball with, and he doesn't need to score that many.
No, and honestly, my reasoning is pretty similar. And in my head, it was more, I'm just assuming that for these first few games, Ant is really going to want to get the ball just really to Julius Randle. He's going to want him to get his shots up, get more used to the team. Uh, and I feel like there's so many games where you probably can just point to be like, Ant, we don't need you taking 30 shots. We want you to be able to play as a two-way superstar, and you're not going to play defense if you're just jacking up all our shots.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, the next one we had was Rudy at 12 boards. I'm gonna go no. I don't think he's gonna get 12 boards. A, I think Anthony Davis gets some boards, and B, I don't think they're going to need him to get 12 boards. And I think Julius Randle, I'm sorry, in addition, I think Julius Randle is a better rebounder than Cat or a more aggressive rebounder. Thoughts?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, honestly, I was going to say the under as well. And my first thought, ironically enough, again after the previous over under, is Julius Randle has been an incredible rebounder, just for years. And I don't think that Rudy is going to necessarily have to grab like 4 or 5 offensive boards, especially when you're probably going to have Randall that's digging for some of them as well. And just because I imagine they both might get 10, but I don't know, 12 just seems a little bit too high for me to be
Seems
like
high.
immediately. Yeah.
How about this last one? Dante DiVincenzo at 11 and a half points. I know where I'm on this one for sure.
My first impression is I would hammer the over on this. I don't think there's
Exactly.
any reason not to think. that he's going to get a good stretch here where he probably is the lead ball handler and is initiating the offense. I mean, Nas is obviously still going to be your main scoring option off the bench, but DiVincenzo is going to have plenty of opportunities tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets that in maybe 6 shots because he gets like 4 threes.
Yeah, I think we saw in the preseason, Ant is very happy to have him on his team. He definitely feeds him the ball all the time, and he likes a guy that wants to shoot. He's the best outside shooter we have. I mean, maybe Joe Ingles in his prime sitting in the corner might have been better, but Joe Ingles is about as old as I am in that he doesn't shoot at 40+% anymore. Dante DiVincenzo shoots 40% from threes. All he does is shoot threes. He's going to get 12 points at least. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would put the over on that.
Yeah,
All right,
you know what?
Carter.
And I guess before we finished, personally, we didn't really do a whole lot of talking about tonight when I feel like we discussed the rest of the team. Jay McDaniels, very interested. I know that most of the offseason we've spent Chris Finch and other coaches pretty much saying, like, yeah, we want to get him more touches. We feel bad that Jaden has been almost kind of the fifth option at times for us. And he's another guy I very much wonder, are they going to tell him you're going to stand in the corner again for half a game, or are they going to let him do some of his own offense? What do you think?
If the regular season like the preseason, no, they're going to put the ball in his hands a lot more. It's time for him to develop a little bit. Again, I know I hate when people use these type of comparisons, but a little more Scottie Pippen in the fact that driving to the hoop, he's got the length, he can finish. Nowhere close to Scottie Pippen, not even remotely in the same continent. But what we saw for him in the preseason, he was driving to the hoop, he was getting assists. I think there was one game he had like 5 assists. That next step for him is doing that, is getting the offensive rebounds also. I think he's going to take the next step. It's not going to be a humongous step, but he's got to take that step now at $20 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. I mean, what was it? 5 years, 131 million that we gave him.
Oh, wow, was it? You're better at contracts than I am. But according to you, per our conversation, all the contracts ended out today, which we'll do at a different podcast. That's a standard good NBA player now, right?
Yeah, it's honestly, it almost seems like it's a steal now. I wouldn't be surprised if you came into, if this was the season you had to extend McDaniels all of a sudden, it'd be, all right, we're giving him $30+ million a year.
I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that much because I feel like and I had this conversation today. I thought it was like a max contract, basically. Let's see. I might hit Spotrac right now. Cap hit is 23, base salary 22. So let's look at his contract. Overall, average salary 26, 131.
Hey, I
I
didn't
can
remember it
handle.
right.
I can definitely handle that. There's no problem with that. So, I mean, in the end, when he's 28 years old, that's 14.7% of the cap. So, I'm okay for that. Which could bring us up to other topics like what they do, who do they extend, all these other things. But that's for a different podcast. Let's get to the big thing, Carter. Prediction tonight. What is your prediction?
I'm expecting a Wolves win to start the season. I'm expecting it's probably going to be a little bit closer than we like just because it's the start of the year. So Anthony Davis and LeBron are actually going to be fully healthy and able to go out a little bit. But I'm still expecting something like maybe a 115, 110 close game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a little more than that. I think for some reason in my head, I'm going 120, 109. So I don't know what the over under for points would be, but I'd probably hit the over on it. I think the
Yeah,
Wolves
I
are
also to be
definitely
fair,
gonna.
it was in my head trying to remember like, man, what is a low defense like scoring number nowadays? Because I feel like we obviously had the best defense last year, and it still was like, yeah, if you allow 105 points, that's a good night in today's NBA.
This is true. This is true. All right. Well, we will be back probably tomorrow recapping the game. I don't anticipate us doing this after every game, but it's opening night. We're excited. Any final thoughts, Carter?
No, just hoping to look forward. This season is going to be a lot of fun. Really can't just stress enough. It's probably the most excited I've been going into Wolf season ever.
All right. Well, peace and go Wolves.
Peace, everyone. Have a just go Wolves, and just want to quick say thank everyone for watching. Have a good rest of your night.